This was not a great week for everyone.
It would have been a much better week for me. Blooming heck, man. That one's a killer. Hello and welcome to a different corner, a fantasy football podcast. I'm Manish Verma. I'm joined by Biscuit Munching. He's just finished, might be able to tell from the crumbs on his face, Dr. Luman Ali. Oh, tea sipping as well, Dr. Luman Ali. Luman, if people are watching this, they will notice that you are hindered today. Tell us what's happened.
Well, contrary to what some people might be thinking, it's not because of my views on this podcast, which is why my eye has flared up a little bit. It's a bit of a nuisance, but it doesn't stop me with my forthright opinions. I'll tell
With
you
your hot takes.
exactly as I see it. So you won't. The eye might be diluted, but the opinions won't be.
Exactly how you see it. What an unintentional pun. But Lumen, we are talking game week 10. We are 100 games into the season, as in there have been 100 games been played now, because game week 10 has just ended, and it ended last night with a pretty crazy match with Fulham versus Brentford. They were losing the whole game until 90 plus minute, was it 95 minutes or something? And then 2 goals in 2 minutes and they win. We were both hoping for a Brentford something. You with Umbuemo, me with Wissa, and neither Batman or Robin came to the fore for us. What did you end up with then?
I ended up with 45 points this week,
Uh huh.
which uh, was not great, but considering the average is 39 this week, it
Mm,
wasn't too bad. Um,
yeah.
the points came from two players. Would you believe that? I'm looking at it. Mo Salah got me 18 points as my
Wow.
captain,
Yeah.
and Morgan Rogers got me 9 points, and that was it. The rest of my team got me ones, twos, and threes.
Yeah.
Um,
You.
now, some people might say, "Well, are you surprised because you didn't do any transfers?"
Mm,
And I didn't do any transfers because um, it's my Destiny's Child theory from a few weeks ago. I didn't want to act on emotion. I
right.
wanted to just like stay calm and say, you know what, let the chips fall whichever way may they fall. I knew Wood, I was going to lose out on Wood, but I'm just looking at the upcoming fixtures as well. And if the guy
Hmm.
keeps doing it with those fixtures, he deserves to be Player of the Year right here, right now. But I mean, 45 points off an average of 39. Did you do
Yeah.
any better?
I did 1 point better, but technically not because I did a -4 this week, and possibly my wildest move of the season so far. Where a few weeks ago I did my wild card all to shoe in Erling Haaland, and I've shipped him out. I shipped him out because I was having Cunha palpitations. I did not want to miss out on the Wolves striker. I got rid of Haaland, put in Cunha, but it also meant I was able to then save that money and bring in Mo Salah. Mo Salah seems to be where the big points are, as opposed to Erling Haaland. If it is a straight shoot off between them, my chips are in the Mo basket at the minute. So I was able to get Mo Salah. Did it work? Well, technically no, because the player I got rid of was Brennan Johnson. So and he scored. Um, so it kind of didn't work. I did a -4. It didn't work, but I ended up on 46. Well, 42 when you take away my -4. The real killer for me, though, was on my bench was Ola Aina at Nottingham Forest. Now, I was thinking, yes, Forest are at home, but I just didn't like that. I, Forest have to kind of open up when they play at home. And I thought, oh, you know what? I can see a Jared Bowen getting a goal. And it was a straight swap. Michael Keane in the back. Do I start Michael Keane away to Southampton, Everton to Southampton, or do I start Ola Aina at home to West Ham? And I just thought, I could see a resolute, stronger Everton defensive performance, and I could see maybe a Bowen nicking goal. Always thought Forest would win. I just thought they'd concede. They didn't. He got a clean sheet, Ola Aina did, and a goal and 3 bonus points. 15 points on the bench, man. Not good. I also had Adama Traore, who nicked an assist last night. So altogether, 19 points between them. 19 points between them. Like, that was a killer for me. Yeah.
As if that wasn't bad enough. I've also got Keane in my team, and they conceded very late. They
Yeah.
conceded very late. But
Just deflating, isn't it? Just deflating. But my points, similar to you in that I only did one better in that my points came from Cunha, who got an assist, Wood, and Mo Salah. Otherwise, 2s and 1s all around the board. It could have been so much better. It's a bit of I'm kicking myself post-game week feeling. But, you have to live with these things.
But the reason why it was a low scoring week is it's always about the team of the week, and you look in there and the majority of players have got low ownership. The majority of the players apart from Mo Salah just did not do it.
Yeah.
But leaving fantasy football to one side, this was a big week at the top with Arsenal dropping points and losing at Newcastle, Man City dropping points and losing at Bournemouth. I think it's fair to say that no one's writing Man City off.
Of course.
No one's saying that Man City are not going to win the league. But the questions are around Arsenal now. Gary Neville in his podcast has said that he thinks Arsenal will still win the league because he thinks this season you won't need as many points as previous seasons. What's your take on that?
I've not heard him say that, but I agree that you won't need as many points as last season. I disagree that Arsenal will be able to even reach the points tally needed to finish top of the pile at the minute. The way we're in a bit of we've got a bit of a problem. We've got a problem. Arsenal do. We can still be defensively resolute, and I don't think that's it's the big issue. Whilst we have been conceding, in 1s and 2s, maybe if that, the issue has been going forward and for me and getting those goals. Season 1 under that, when we were flying high, we were losing 2-0 to Bournemouth, we'd win 3-2. The same to Villa. We kept doing these crazy things, and it was all about emotion. But we had this free-flowing attack with the Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Odegaard, banging goals. Just anywhere, could come from anywhere. Last season, we were so much more controlled. Jesus wasn't part of the big picture anymore. It was Havertz. So it was something new, but it was working. It was a lot more control. This season, I said it in the summer, I'd like another forward. And it's not to say Havertz can't do it. It's just that I think we lose options, we lose ideas after Havertz. And if Odegaard's not there as well, then we're definitely losing ideas. There's only so much we can rely on Saka. Martinelli hasn't been doing it for now over a season consistently, more than a season now consistently. There's only so much you can rely on Trossard as well. I think we need more.
Was it really worth selling Emile Smith-Rowe?
Was it really? Well, that's a great question. Not even thought of that. Well, now you'd think, we could really do with him. I think the way Mikel Arteta set out, especially against Newcastle, it was so kind of strongman. And in the past 2 seasons, we've played not strongman, not particularly high presser, but he was superb for us. You were a massive fan of his last season, Jorginho. At least there's some creativity, someone who's finding that pass. and we're just not playing him. I don't know what's happened. We're just not using him. He can be complemented with a Marino and Declan Rice, but we just need more craft. We need more craft in the team, and we just don't have it. So yeah, Emil Smith Rowe. I think we're missing Jorginho or some ideas. At the minute, we're playing Nwaneri, a 17-year-old, just to give us something else. And I'm not sure that's what title contenders are made of, really.
In last week's show, I mentioned how Jamie Carragher made the comparison between Arteta and Mourinho. Last night on Monday Night Football, he went in deep. I strongly suggest you watch that analysis. It is fantastic. And
Okay.
the bottom line is Arsenal fans are taking it the wrong way, where they're seeing it as a criticism. It's not a criticism. What Carragher's saying is that over the last 15, 20 years, the two dominant styles of play, two extremes, Guardiola and Mourinho, and they've both won. They've done it in different ways. The only thing is, Arsenal haven't won anything yet, but by playing that style of football. The other thing is, I don't know whether Troops TV was listening to our podcast, but I sent you that clip. I sent you that clip, and he's talking about set pieces and Tony Pulis. So look,
we should mention
the problem. The problem here is this. I was talking to someone earlier this week, and I said that there's this big myth in football around football clubs and attacking football, right? There's this big myth. It comes from teams like Man United. Attack. It's nonsense, right? Apart from one or two teams in the world, I'm thinking of Barcelona and Ajax, who are so wedded to attacking football. Every other club in the world, Real Madrid, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, they have had periods of dominance in their history where they've not played all-out attacking football. United at their very best under Fergie were lethal on the counter-attack, right? They were solid at the back. His team between 06 and 09, 3 league titles on the bounce. They had 3 defensive midfielders. So when I hear all this attack, fans are naive. Liverpool won trophies under Rafa Benitez, who did have teams which scored a lot of goals. So it wasn't that he was completely defensive, but we won, we won games based on defensive solidity. So, this whole thing about attacker, it's nonsense. And the problem for Arsenal is it's the optics. When you're playing defensive football and winning, no one cares, right? But if you're playing defensive football and not winning, then it becomes an issue. And that's why you have an issue. And the last question I'll have for you on this is Chelsea at the weekend. If Arsenal draw or lose that game, is that the end of their title chase, or are they still in it?
I find it really. I don't know. The answer is. I just find it really difficult to make a call on it so early. It's all about actually whatever the result that is. Then you have to look across what have Man City done, and if Man City draw or lose, then we're still in it. And look across again to Merseyside, because I'm bringing you into this conversation, Luman. It was a very good weekend for Liverpool, right? Man City lost, Arsenal lost, yes. Chelsea drew. So in terms of top 4, if we wouldn't even talk about top 4, it was a good weekend for you. And Man U drew, if they're in that conversation, I don't know. Aston Villa lost, Spurs won. That's the only other one you'd say who's contending up there. Forest. I mean, I'm disrespecting Forest here. They're very within their rights to be in the conversation at the minute. But Liverpool are in this hunt, man.
I'm happy that we're well on our way to achieving our objective for top 4. I told you last season when all of this title talk was happening, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen this season. Look, I'm one of those people who doesn't go into, predictions this early on in the season, right? But the problem for Arsenal is forget Liverpool. They're 5 points behind a Man City team who have not shown up so far. This Man City team, they're missing Rodri.
Mm.
Haaland isn't scoring, and yet they've only dropped 7 points out of a possible 30. They will get it together. Arsenal need to be in touching distance when Man City get it together,
Yeah.
and they're not.
No, absolutely. I agree.
And even though Man City lost, the issue for me was before the game, Pep was talking about injuries, but their starting lineup was Ederson, Walker, Akanji, Ake, Guardiol, Kovacic, Foden, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, Matthias Nunez, Haaland. They had a bench which included De Bruyne, Doku, Rico Lewis, Savinho. Then they're strong.
So my question there is, we all know what Man City can do in the second half of the season. These ridiculous runs of just wins, right? W's forever. My question is, do they even seem like the team that are able to put it in this season? Like so far of what you can see, they've struggled to take wins. Like I know they lost, but this weekend aside, they've won, but you're thinking, oh, they could have easily lost that game or drawn that game.
It's the manager. It's the manager. That's the
Yeah.
only reason, not the players, the manager.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting title. At the top at the moment, I can't call it a title race because we're way off a title race, but I will be glued to Chelsea Arsenal. But you had an interesting finding for this week. What was it?
My interesting finding, looking at this weekend's results, Luman, did you notice anything odd?
Let's have a look. Spurs winning so convincingly.
Dominic Solanke bagging so many goals. Maybe that's the odd thing against a very good Villa team. No, the odd thing, and it's not happened once yet this season. No away wins in the whole of the 10 fixtures that we had.
Interesting.
Some draws, and it was almost an away win for Brentford last night, but no away wins. You would have thought maybe Man City could have beaten Bournemouth away. They didn't. They lost. You would have thought maybe Everton could have taken points off Southampton away. They did not. Even Villa away to Spurs, Chelsea away to United, all home wins or draws. And I'm just wondering, when you approach FPL, how much, because I think I invest a lot in home fixtures, even if it is the big teams. I think I said it last week, Man City going away to Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth might take them there, and they did. How much focus do you put on when you're picking an FPL team of, they're playing at home or they're playing away? If I've got all home fixtures, I'm confident that week.
It's a big consideration, but then when you see certain players like a Mo Salah, you're not phased that they're playing away. So I think for those players for the smaller teams, it counts more. But a Haaland or a Mo Salah, you're not. Like, I know you mentioned Haaland away to Bournemouth. Generally speaking, you don't drop Haaland just because he's playing away. But yeah.
So are there some fixture-proof players then? Are there fixture-proof players? We've mentioned Mo Salah. I don't know if Haaland is a fixture-proof player at the minute. The guy, again, blanked. Again.
Yeah, but
what is going on?
He missed some saves, didn't he? But you are the forward whisperer. Even though you didn't have a great week, surprise, you had forwards that got you points. Cunha and Wood. You can't get away from this. You are the forward whisperer. Who's on your radar?
Talking about fixture-proof players, maybe Chris Wood. Man, we've got to give him his flowers. This guy is, again, also, very rarely plays the whole 90 minutes and he still gets a goal, is always in there. The way Forest are playing, their style of play just suits him so well. Chris Wood, what a bargain. I've got Cunha. I was expecting a goal there away at home to Crystal Palace. He got an assist, but they're playing Southampton next. Wolves at home to Southampton. So Cunha and Wood for sure. But there are some strikers who are now back in this fold of we said too many, man. There's too many strikers. Do you want to get Cunha's strike partner, Strand Larsen? Another, I think, did he get a goal? He got big points. He did get a goal. I think he got some bonuses as well. So he's a good one to get and cheap. Isak, he was one of the most owned players at the start, game week 1. He dropped off. He's now at something like, I want to say 13% ownership, something like, I'm going to look, 13.8%. So it's dropped drastically. He's only 8.3. And when you talk about premium strikers, he's that guy. They've got not a bad next 3 away to Forest, West Ham at home, Crystal Palace away. Isak might be the guy. And randomly, Evan Nilsson at Bournemouth is now, who wasn't looking very good. I think he missed a penalty earlier in the season as well. All of a sudden, he's now got 2 and 2. So maybe Evan Nilsson is that guy for Bournemouth. He's getting the minutes. He's getting the starts with Semenyo around him. I think maybe him as well. So there are lots of options strikers wise.
I think I take a lot of what you say because week in, week out, my strikers aren't doing it. I got a total of 6 points this week from Raul, Jimenez, Haaland, and Watkins. I mean, it's beyond laughable at the moment. And once again, it's my midfielders pulling me through. Again, my defenders didn't get me anything. It's beyond a joke that I am this far where I am. And if you add up the points for my goalkeeper, my defenders, and forwards, and you took out my midfield points, I'd be one of the lowest in the world.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
The only thing I would point out to you is, whereas Wood, as you've said, he's the main man for Forest, is there a danger of points being split between Cunha and Strand Larsen?
Yeah, very much so. And if you were to go with one of them, I mean, I like Cunha, but now I reflect on it. I didn't know if Strand Larsen completed 90, and that always puts me off. But he's their main guy, right? He's their big man. This big man has become in vogue again, hasn't it? By the way, Havertz at Arsenal, Wood at Forest, Strand Larsen at Wolves. Haaland, yeah, the big man is back, possibly, apart from Liverpool.
Will the forward whisperer have the cojones to have Cunha and Strand Larsen considering their run of fixtures?
What a question. I don't think I would do 2, but against Southampton, I would consider it, and maybe you split your points. But I just don't know. I just think there are too many other options elsewhere that I'd prefer to do. Like, as mentioned, Evan Nilsson, you've got to mention Solanke. Should mention Solanke, shouldn't we?
It's Spurs, man. Like, yes, they've got a bit at home against Ipswich, but this is Spurs we're talking about. Like.
Why do you hate Spurs? I mean, as an Arsenal fan, I should hate Spurs because Spurs go away to Crystal Palace and lose, but then come home to Villa and then smash them. And actually, they smashed West Ham the week before Crystal Palace, 2 weeks ago.
I said to someone yesterday that if the result at the weekend was 4-1 to Villa, that wouldn't have surprised you either, because that's who Spurs are, right? If it was a reversal, you know what? They did XG on Monday Night Football, and Spurs are supposed to be third. Like, and I'm not into XG at all. Like, I'm all about the eye test, and I don't know.
Spurs have scored the most goals this season. 22 goals they've scored this season.
Yeah, but it looks juicy on paper, right? Ipswich at home, but then let's not forget how badly burnt everyone got with Man City and Southampton at home.
Yeah, very true.
You're really rolling the dice.
I'm wondering whether it's big on Spurs for one game week alone, because the week after they are away to Man City. So
Yeah.
if you're making it, it's a short term decision. But Spurs have been scoring threes and fours at home, and away from home. Yeah, forget about it. I don't want any part of them. But I've got a one Bukayo Saka who I'm just worried about us going forward, and it's an easy transfer out for at least a game week. Saka out, Son in. It's something I'm considering for sure.
Now, one thing I'd like to talk about now is strategy.
Go on.
I'm ultra conservative when it comes to fantasy football. People are very cavalier or can be cavalier. I'm ultra conservative. If you noticed, I haven't done transfers for a couple of weeks, or I did the wild card and I saved my. It's because I'm prepared to say, you know what, not every week has to be a big week.
Yeah. Oh.
Not every week you got to come out top, right? As long as you're hitting above average, right?
Yeah.
That's a good enough week. And that's why I've got 3 transfers saved at the moment, right?
Wow.
And I, as a strategy, the more transfers you have saved, the more you can do one-off transfers. So, for example, bring Spurs players in and then bring them out again without. So, as an example, I've got 3 transfers. I could
Yeah.
potentially bring in 2 Spurs players,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
still have 1 free transfer, which rolls
Yeah.
over to another free transfer. That's 2.
And transfer them
So,
out again.
so that transfer thing change, I love it for this season. And
Yeah.
but we'll see what happens with Spurs this weekend, because let's have a look at these fixtures and whittle through them. So Brentford, Bournemouth. Brentford can't keep a clean sheet to save their lives. Bournemouth are on fire. Who you got?
Wow, that is a difficult one because Brentford at home. We talked about home and away. I can see that being a score draw. I definitely think Bournemouth are scoring because Brentford can't
Okay,
can't keep a clean sheet. But Brentford with Wisseren and Buemo, yeah.
I can see that being a draw as well. And Semenyo should be in people's consideration again because of what he did at the weekend.
Mm.
Palace, Fulham. Palace showing some signs of life. Fulham, have been very solid this week. This season. Who you got? Palace or Fulham?
I'm predicting a Palace win because Fulham got to go away to Palace, and Palace all of a sudden going away to Wolves and getting 2-2 draw there. They could have won. Maybe with Mateta back, I think they're finally starting to get some results.
Would you consider Mateta and Eze?
I'd consider Mateta, not Eze. I've been burnt by Eze this season so far.
Cool. 2 interesting teams. West Ham, who've had a shocker this year in most games, versus Everton, who lost last game but showing signs of more defensive solidity. Who you got?
Oh, that is a real sticky one. I don't know how to call this one at all because West have been really bad, but Everton, I just don't. They haven't got much going forward. A draw, maybe very, very low scoring, if scoring at all. West Ham need a win though, man. They are really struggling. This manager is really in trouble, I think.
One of your favorite teams, Wolves, your second team perhaps, at home to Southampton.
Wolves
Southampton
win.
won, and they played better recently.
Yeah.
You still got Wolves to win.
I've still got
Wolves.
Wolves need to be hungry. Like they are in trouble if they don't get wins like this. They should have beaten Crystal Palace, as in they needed to. They didn't. They're in big trouble if they do not win games like this. If they want to stay in the league, they need to win. So I'm going Wolves.
Hungry like the wolf, another unintentional pun, but I'll take that. Juicy game. Man City away to Brighton.
Man City have got to respond, right? They've got to respond. But Liverpool played Brighton this weekend. You tell me, what were they like?
Brighton absolutely annihilated Liverpool first half. I don't use those words lightly. Liverpool were lucky to come out that first half only 1-0 down.
Wow.
just in terms of their tactical superiority, winning second balls, everything. Um, Brighton, I would say, similar challenge to Bournemouth, very similar styles of play. So
Mm.
Man City really need to dig deep. But who you got in that game?
I think Man City might just have too much for them because Brighton can concede. But Brighton have been very good. I'm going to go draw. I'm going to go
Okay.
draw. Yeah.
Liverpool at home to Villa. I will be
Liverpool
at
at
Anfield, so
home.
I'm not going to comment on this one.
No way are you going?
Yes, I am.
Nice one. What a fixture to get tickets for. That isn't a
Yeah,
mug
yeah,
fixture. That is a
yeah,
top tier
yeah.
fixture.
And I really was not liking the result at the weekend because I'm thinking, oh my God, Unai Emery is going to fire a rocket at them.
So a response maybe on the cards. Villa are good. Villa are good. I just think with the way Liverpool are play, I think what happens is unless Liverpool get blown out in the first half an hour, which is unlikely, because what I do rate Arne Slot is adapting quickly. I feel like he makes changes quickly and then he gets them back on. So first half might be a dud, but as long as it's 0-0, second half you're winning. So I
How you
see
calling
that's
it?
the way I'm seeing it.
How are you calling it?
I'm calling it a Liverpool win. I'm calling it a
Okay,
Liverpool win.
right.
And the big one there is actually, do you captain Mo Salah? That's the question for me. It's a difficult one to captain him for. Can you just also tell me what's the defense situation? I got Kanate came off, looked like a
Con-
bad injury, but
no,
what's the situation?
it's fine. It's fine. He should be ready for next game.
And Simicas, he's
Simicas,
playing.
it's between him and Robertson for left back. So because Simicas has played himself into contention.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, um, let's hope you're right and Liverpool do win. Next, Man United Leicester. Now, Man United, new manager bounce under Van Nistelrooy. Do you think it continues where they were a lot more solid they're still having problems scoring, but they were a lot more solid. Who you got in that game?
I've got United. I think United are winning. I would be very interested in like a Garnacho for this game. That I know about going forwards, maybe a bit more conservative, but I've watched Garnacho live last season against Arsenal, and that was a terrible United display. And he was the only one who took the ball and ran at you and would
Okay.
try something. I like Garnacho. Yeah. I think Manu. I can't see the Foxes getting anything there.
Another juicy game. Forest at home to Newcastle.
This is a big one, I think. This is a really good one. If Forest win this game, I know it's at home, that is a big statement, I think. Taking on Newcastle. I think actually they'll do it. I actually
Okay.
think they're good enough to do it. My worry with I was confident Arsenal beating Newcastle because I thought Anthony Gordon was out. He was one of the players of the match that game. Like he just so Gordon Isak Newcastle is a different beast, but Forest are very strong at home, and I think Forest are winning that.
What would Jimmy do? He bought Hudson Odoi last game and he got 10 points. So he should be on your radar as well. So, but
Absolutely,
it'll
yeah.
be an interesting game, right? Spurs Ipswich, I think that should be fairly straightforward, even though it is Spurs.
I'm going big goals, a big score line. They might concede still, Spurs, but I'm going big. I just don't know where the big points are coming on. Kulusevski's getting goals, Solanke's getting goals, Madison gets the points, Son is in there always, so I just don't know where you want to go.
Looks like it'll be a draw there because it's Spurs. And then finally, arguably the game of the week. I mean,
Oh.
Villa Liverpool is tasty, but Chelsea Arsenal. I'll keep this short and sweet because we've already discussed it. What the ramifications are, but what do you think the result will be?
I think Arteta's getting into them. And if he's not getting into them, there's a big problem. I think Arsenal win that game. He says, wincing.
We will be there. We will be there to watch all the drama unfold. We'll be there to see what the forward whisperer does with his team. We'll be there to see if there's any more slip ups from any contenders. I'm looking forward to it already.
We'll be there.